Hey, everybody out there, it's Alabama Deep. I'm coming back at you. Alright, so we're doing a tip over the day before we move on to other things, because we're moseying right along today. Finish up Mustafa's watch, check. Gave it to Mustafa, check. Mustafa jumping up and down like a 4-year-old kid on Christmas morning, check. So now we're moving right along, and got another watch I just completed. Um, got something that I wanted to show everybody, and that is, when I am looking at these restoration videos for these Rolexes, and I'm seeing how beautiful they are and can be restored if I decide to do so. With the cases shining and looking new and everything, which I really try not to do much of because I like how vintage Rolexes are, or any watches. You always want to keep them to their fullest and best original status that they were in. Um, there are at times when you do need to improve on a few. One example is my Bulova. I don't think I've really showed too much of this. We did a video on this a while back. It was a long time ago, maybe last year. But my Bulova Presidential, we did a restoration on this and got it working again, and it looks really, really good. So we have that one. We got a new one that we'll be doing a video on. It looks good, but the hands are loose. They kind of just, yep, see how they're flopping all over the place? The back of it, yikes. We don't know exactly what all happened with this. Looks kind of crazy, actually, with what has happened to it. So we're not really 100% sure what's going on with this, but we're going to figure that out. Nonetheless, it's a very nice, cheap little watch, but we're going to be fixing that. But what I was going to show you is that I really think I may start buying some of these Rolex dials that have been destroyed for the most part, with no paint on them or missing a lot of paint. Ones that are even have like small indentations on it, and bringing them back out, and then repurposing them with fresh paint and clear coat and all that. So I went out onto AliExpress and I bought a few things. Now, what we have here, and I'll zoom out just a little bit. What we have here is we have an air gun. I've bought this air gun off AliExpress. It was like $1.50 for the air gun. But surprisingly enough, it's not bad quality. Now, this air gun, I've seen these before. Of course, there's your little gun for it. It's like a little mini auto paint gun. I've painted plenty of car bodies before. So, yeah, you put your paint in here with its paint thinner. Fill it up there, and there's a little hole for the air to escape. You can adjust your spray here. And I think that's your strength there. Air comes in here and then push back. And that will spray your dial. But I didn't really have a source of an air compressor going along. So I'm thinking about what can I use for an air compressor. And I'm not entirely 100% sure what I was going to do on that. So I went ahead and for another $3, I went onto AliExpress and I got a fish aquarium pump. And there's charcoal filter for it and everything else, and there's the air hose right there. So yeah, aquarium fish pump motor, blowing air through it. And of course I will have to go down to the hardware store, match that up, thread it in, but that will attach there eventually, and then I'll be able to hopefully spray a watch dial and put it on there with that spray gun and be able to have an endless supply of compressed air as it will be building up in the spray gun, and with enough force, I believe, to force enough spray out of here to be able to paint a dial or two. And so I'm going to be looking into what type of paint I need. I think it's more or less going to be an oil-based paint, not water-based. I'm going to have to cut it down with acetone or paint thinner, that's what acetone is paint thinner. And I'm going to look into what type of paint Rolex uses. They probably make their own paint, for goodness sakes. But I'll get the best quality paint I can. I won't need much to do a Rolex watch dial. But that's what I'm thinking about doing. So I wanted to share that with anyone out there. If they were thinking about buying that, you can get those air guns for like, literally, I got mine for like $1.50. Is what I paid for it. You can get the fish aquarium pump. I think it's $3.50 on AliExpress. Those two things I think are going to work out great. But before you rush out to put something like this together from AliExpress, let me try it out first. So when I get that little piece, we are going to go ahead and we're going to put it together, and we're going to put it on this channel. We're going to see how well it would do painting a Rolex watch dial. And when we do this, we're really going to do this. We're going to do it right. We're going to be doing our best to disassemble the watch as far as the dial markers go, and then reapplying them, removing the cornet or the crown off the dial. And then we're going to come back over it with everything else that we need to. I know it's a dial restoration. So I would love to put Rolex on that dial. Now, this is where I have to be careful. Yes, the dial was created by Rolex. Yes, we want to put it back to Rolex, but how would Rolex perceive that? If I repaint a dial and reattach the name Rolex myself to their dials, would they see that as a form of intrusion? Now, I know there's lots of redials out there and so on and so forth. I need to look into that. I don't think there'd be any issue with it whatsoever, because that is originally who it was made by, and you're just restoring it. But you got to be careful with that. Now, I don't see any issue with the watches that I do, because when I do a watch, I'm not changing anything on the outside of that watch. It was made by Rolex. They put their name on there. And when I put one back together off of the internet, even if I'm not using the correct movement for that period, in time it will be. So it will be everything that it was supposed to have been when it was originally launched out, when it first came out, before it was disassembled and scrapped. But, once again, this is a little bit different. I would be applying the name Rolex to something that Rolex did not necessarily do. Even though it's a refurbishment, how would they treat that? And, if you see the difference in that, that's good. If you don't, I'll try to re-explain it the best I can. If I get a Rolex watch dial in a Rolex case, and I assemble that back together, but I don't have the correct Rolex movement just yet, but I really want to wear that watch. Kind of like this one right here. I really want to wear it. So, I put a 2824 into it, high beat or low beat, just whichever it may be, or I put a clone 3135 in there. Look, that part doesn't really, to me, matter as much, because, that's not made by Rolex. That's just made by people in China. They don't care. The outside of that watch, the dial and the case and the crown, the bracelet and everything, that is all made by Rolex. That is their name that they put on their stuff that I did not create. So in that regard, I don't see how there could be any issue. Plus, if I buy something, it is mine. And if it is mine, I can do to it whatever I want to do to it, just as long as I'm not selling it for, a fully authentic Rolex. I don't think there's any harm in that. Because, like I said, I didn't create the dial or the case. I just put them back together and restored them, right? That's what I did. I restored a Rolex watch. And eventually, if it is mine, it will have the correct movement and everything original on the inside that it should have. No harm, no foul in that years down the road. Now, kind of like Mustafa, he got his today. His is something that was made by Rolex with a Rolex case. Everything on the outside is legitimate. Everything. So I can't get in trouble for that because number one, I didn't sell it and make money off of it. But number two, it's all authentic Rolex. It's not something that I created. So I'm going to have to look into putting the name Rolex back on it. Now the coronet I can put back on it. The dial markers I'm going to put back on it. But I have to be really, really careful about that name Rolex. I want to be very careful about that. I need to dive in and start researching that if I am legally allowed to put Rolex back on it. Because honestly, if I do another Rolex watch giveaway out there, and it just so happens to be one that I did put the name on it, I don't want to be stepping on the toes there in that regard, if you understand. So I really am going to look into that. I think just as long as it really is a Rolex dial and you're just restoring it like you would a car and putting Chevrolet on there or whatever, and it is a Chevy, I don't think there's any harm with foul. So I will definitely have to look into that. But getting back to the airbrushing kit that I've come up with, this may be a good cheap alternative. I'm the type that I like to save money on anything I can really do. So yeah, I paid next to nothing for the air gun, next to nothing for the air pump, which is really for an aquarium. But I think for airbrushing, it's the same pump with the same amount of pressure, everything. We'll find that out. But this is just something I thought I'd throw out there, something that is going to be coming to the channel. We are going to refurbish a Rolex watch dial. I want something that's beat to hell and back and is missing everything off of it. That's what I'm going for, and do a little bit of experimentation on there, and we're going to see how well we can do. So that's coming up down the road. But for anyone out there, stick around in the next videos to come as I put the airbrushing kit together. I want to see what that'll do with the dial. If anyone out there has had the same thought about using a fish aquarium pump, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to be experimenting with that in the videos coming up ahead. So, okay, guys and gals, I wanted to toss that one at you real quick. I'm going to hop off here. I've got a couple more watches to do and then call it a day. So I'll see y'all on the next video coming up. Probably a couple of them to come before the night is over. So be looking forward to that. It's a very busy night here on the channel. And we got plenty of videos coming at you. So stick around. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below. Toss your name in comments for that free Rolex watch giveaway. We're going to have another drawing. If you haven't seen the winner, hey, that's the video behind this. Go check that out and see how excited he was. I mean, he's texting me left and right. Just saying how much he loves it and how accurate it is. It's keeping perfect time and all that. You know, we all know that. But, okay. I'll see y'all in the next video for them to come. And like, share, subscribe, comment below. Share my videos. Hit that like button. I'll see y'all on the next video coming up.